Chapter 2, Goldilocks, is a quote. First, she tasted the porridge of the great big bear, and that was too hot for her. Next, she tasted the porridge of the middle-sized bear, but that was too cold for her. And then she went to the porridge of the little wee bear and tasted it, and that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so well that she ate it all up, every bit. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. One morning recently, rather than being at work as I normally would be, I found myself at a walk-in medical clinic waiting to be tested for COVID-19 coronavirus. 8 months ago, that sentence wouldn't have made sense to many people, but I trust you know what I'm talking about as our country approaches 140 million COVID tests administered since then. After registering inside, I was instructed to wait outside of the building until I received a text message. That would be my notice to come back inside and be tested. I checked the list and had about 50 people ahead of me. Yes, there was a high demand for the privilege of having a large Q-tip jammed up both nostrils on a Monday morning. I was going to be there for a while. With time to kill on a beautiful day, I decided to go for a walk. A midday walk on a Monday? That is a rare pleasure for someone who spends much of their day during the week indoors working on a computer. The weather was flawless, sunny with a slight cool breeze. Totally comfortable to walk around in with a t-shirt and jeans. It was perfect. So perfect, in fact, that I went out of my way to check the temperature. For the record, it was 72 degrees. 72 and sunny with a slight breeze is my Goldilocks weather. Not too hot, not too cool, but just right. Like it was made especially for me. Do you realize that we're living in a Goldilocks universe too? Not too hot, not too cool, but just right. Like it was made especially for us. This leads us to our next takeaway. Takeaway 2 is that the universe is tuned up to allow life. When I tune up my guitar and play a chord, it rings out beautifully, just as I intended to. I turn the knobs at the top of the guitar until all 6 strings are set to the sound they're designed to be. This is not a horseshoes and hand grenades situation where the goal is to be close enough. No, I use an app on my smartphone to make sure the strings are precisely tuned to the levels they should be. Any guitarist will tell you that if any one of those 6 strings is out of whack in either direction, it can ruin the entire sound. So I adjust the knobs until each string is not too tight, not too loose, but just right. If I don't tune up the guitar, it sounds awful. Immediately, I know something is out of whack. But do you know what would give me an even more clear warning than a poor sounding chord? What if the guitar instantly burst into flames or went into a tailspin and exploded if it wasn't tuned up? Or if even one string was ever so slightly out of tune, whether it was too tight or too loose, the guitar froze over and disintegrated. Sounds dramatic, right? Maybe so. But that's nothing compared to the fine-tuning of our universe. There are dozens of constants like gravity, oxygen levels, and nuclear force. These things had to be set to extremely precise parameters for Earth to be habitable. Forget about tuning just 6 strings. If any of these dozens of constants were even slightly different, our world could not exist. Life could not exist. What does slightly different look like? Consider this example. And this is from Stealing from God, Chapter 1 from Frank Turek. If you stretched a tape measure across the entire known universe, mark it on one spot. That would be the correct calculation for gravity. If this mark were moved more than an inch from its location on a tape measure stretched across the entire universe, our world could not exist. Am I to believe that precise specification happened by accident? And that's just one of the dozens of factors that had to be tuned precisely to the right level to allow life. If the Earth were closer to or further from the sun, we wouldn't be here. If oxygen made up more or less than 21% of the atmosphere, we wouldn't be here. This is all from I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist in Chapter 4. If the Earth's rotation took more or less than 24 hours, we wouldn't be here. If the Earth were tilted more or less than at a 23-degree angle, we wouldn't be here. Finally, it should be noted that these factors are interdependent. If I break one string on my guitar, It also throws off the other 5-string settings. It's truly difficult to comprehend just how miraculously tuned up our universe is, and yet we know it to be so. It's this type of information that led Francis Collins, Dr. Francis Collins, the Yale-educated scientist and director of the National Institutes of Health, to famously say that, quote, "The more I examine the universe and the details of its architecture, the more evidence I find that the universe, in some sense, must have known we were coming." That's from his book, The Language of God, A Scientist Presents Evidence for Belief by Francis S. Collins. Chapter 1 confirmed that our universe exploded into being out of nothing. Through that explosion, a universe formed that is ultra tuned up. Through that explosion, a universe formed that is tuned up to ultra precise levels needed to allow life. How do we explain this without God? Some have tried to explain it away with a theory that there is an unlimited number of universes and that we happen to be on the one that happen to have the exact interdependent constants needed to allow life. With that in mind, I'd like to devote the next page of this book to lay out the evidence for this theory. The next page says, "This page intentionally left blank." I don't need to be a molecular geneticist to tell you that my guitar strings don't accidentally get tuned up. Given any number of chances, if we put the raw materials into a box and drop them out of a window, we'd never believe the result of that explosion to be a perfectly tuned guitar. So we're again left to consider our options. 1. If there is a God, our universe is tuned up for life because God tuned it. 2. If there is no God, our universe is tuned up for life because nothing caused a lucky accident.